Hi, my name is Rachel Sample, and for the purpose of this video discussion, I am discussing the difference between liberty and freedom. Now, I thought this was really interesting because I thought they were the same thing, probably like most people who've never studied philosophy or Western freedom. And as I looked further into them, I came up with a pretty simple definition, and that is freedom is something that you are born with, and liberty is something that you have to fight for. Now, what does that mean? Well, freedom is basically just being able to do whatever you want. You can totally destroy yourself because you have the personal freedom to do that. I want to share with you a picture of a man. Now, I would say this man has total freedom. He is living in freedom. He is totally free to self-destruct. And he has nobody hindering him. Would you say this man is free? I wouldn't say he was free. He looks pretty much in bondage to me. However, freedom is this. Freedom is the ability to do whatever you want. As long as you're not harming someone, you can do whatever you want. And that goes back to the philosopher by the name of John Stuart Mills talks about the harm theory. He said you should be able to do whatever you want as long as you're not harming somebody else. And rules should only be made that basically protect other people. So you have the freedom to drink, but you don't have the freedom to drink and drive because this causes harm to somebody else if you got in an accident. Now, freedom, really, if, in a purest sense, freedom just seems sort of like just anarchy, where everyone's just doing what they want. Everyone's looking out for their own interest. And this is not truly the type of country we live in or what they're talking about when they say Western freedoms. They actually are more specifically speaking of liberty. Now, even though the words sound very similar, liberty is more something that you fight for. So that is something that has to be, it's a surrendering of your freedoms or surrendering of your will, not to a king or a tyrannical government, but to a representative or to a civil authority who represents you. And for example, in our book on Inventing Freedom, he talks about, Roger Scruton says, the English law exists not to control the individual, but to free him. So true freedom comes from a controlled government. And in the text, we learn on power, we learn that freedom is obedience to public stewards and not to tyrannical governments. So the public stewards that you're surrendering your freedom to, your personal freedom to do whatever you want, you're surrendering it to them so that people protect you, that they represent you in government or they protect you in the law. So, for example, you don't have to retaliate when somebody does something to you because that's the job of the courts or that's the job of the police. I think of a society that had total freedom. I think back to Jim Elliot, the tribe that he went to in South America, the Wandani tribe, and they had total freedom. They speared. I think there was a movie called The End of the Spear, and they would constantly, one person would attack another person, and they would retaliate and attack them back, and then the group of people would get together and retaliate and spear the other people, and they were literally spearing each other to death. They had freedom to destroy themselves, which we see in the picture of this man. He had total freedom to destroy himself. And but that is not going to sustain a society. That's not going to have a prosperous government that we want. So liberty is something where you voluntarily surrender these the right to retaliate, the certain rights, so that you're not harming somebody and they in turn will be stopped from harming you. Thank you.